it's Margot, and today I'm bringing you something a little different, but also the same. Since I completely liquefied my brain over the past few weeks in the blender of researching and writing Ghosts of the Dakota Building, I decided to take it a bit easier this week and let everyone else pretty much do the writing for me. Very little research necessary. So today we have a couple personal stories from my ghost hunting partner Sarah, and I'm going to talk a little bit about paranormal investigation. So if you're ready to get spooked and spine tingled, keep watching. Sara and I met when our kids were little, and we sort of fell into leading a Girl Scout troop together. Anyone who knew us back then is probably having a good chuckle, recalling our troop antics, and anyone who's met us since is probably horrified at the thought. We did it our way, with oily slip and slides, 1 a.m. badminton, mountain camp training, bizarre fundraisers, and teaching the girls creative methods of self-defense. But those kids had a blast, and so did we. Not one fatality. Fast forward a couple years, and I decided to start a paranormal investigation team, the Lost Coastline Paranormal Society. Sara was immediately on board, and has been ever since. It's hard to remember a time when Sara wasn't my right-hand man and partner in whatever crazy ideas either of us comes up with. We're especially enthusiastic about things that have the potential to get us in over our heads. Over the years with Lost Coastline, we've done investigations, ghost tours, and we're even invited into an elementary school classroom to teach the kids all about ghost hunting. At the start of the pandemic, I told Sara to be ready because I was starting a YouTube channel. My intention was to film our investigations and help others get started. Sara, as always, immediately said, "Let's do this." That will still happen if I can ever get my health under control. But being very high risk from even catching a cold and being on immunosuppressants, I'm stuck at home. So I started telling stories instead, and that's where we are now. If anyone's interested in learning about paranormal investigation, I do have a whole closet full of equipment I can show you how to use, and it wouldn't hurt for me to remind myself how to use it as well. I do consistently get questions about how to get started on ghost hunting in my not on YouTube life, so it's probably easiest just to start putting little how-to videos on here, if you want me to. These two stories take place in the small coastal Maine town Sara and I both currently live in. We've actually taken ghost tours to this particular location. At one point during a Halloween ghost tour for a local bar, I picked up an EVP saying Sara, so I don't know if they remembered her there or what. This is an extremely old New England cemetery that actually used to be the backyard of a school that was in use from 1858 until the building was torn down in 1957. It's known as the Old Burying Ground. On the local historical pages, a lot of people have commented about camping out there in the summer when they were kids, and using the remaining headstones as bases while playing baseball behind the school. There were also comments from people who mentioned they buried their pet cats there growing up. I found that part interesting. You'll see why in a minute. If it wasn't under snow right now, I'd get some current pictures. We'll have to take you all out there sometime and see if we pick anything up on our equipment. We both actually live within walking distance of this place now. I just can't always walk. Now on to Sara's stories. Sara says, when I was 8 to 10 years old, I lived on Lyon Street. My backyard happened to be the oldest graveyard in town. There are only a handful of headstones left, but the cemetery is full. 2 events happened to me while living there. 2 friends and I decided we wanted to tent out on a summer night and thought it was a great idea to sleep in the cemetery. We awoke in the middle of the night to what sounded like 100 cats around our tent, fighting and hissing. When we hid our flashlights, you could see the shadows of cats circling our tent. Scared, as any kid would be, we decided we had to abandon ship and make a run for the house about 500 feet away. As we were shaking and crying, we unzipped the tent and jumped out. But there was absolutely nothing there. This second story from Sara I've always found extremely interesting. I'd love to hear from anyone else who's experienced anything similar. It seems to be somewhat rare, but I do hear about this sort of time slip phenomenon occasionally. Sara says, this one happened on another night. There were big picture windows in the living room that looked down over the hill to the river. It was the middle of the night, and I awoke to get a drink. As I came down the partial spiral stairs and looked out the windows, as I always did, the neighbor's house was gone. All the houses were gone. The color was off. It wasn't dark, but it wasn't light either. I couldn't stop looking. There was a grassy hill, dirt roads, and big ships going and coming on the river, horse-drawn carriages. I looked away, then looked back for a double take, and it was night, normal. I've always assumed that night I got a peek into the past, and somehow a little time lapse opened for me. Why, I'll never know. That's all I have for you today. I hope you've enjoyed these stories and will come back for more. Like, subscribe, leave a comment, and bring your friends, family, COVID pod, cult members, invisible friends, or enemies. And I'd love to share your stories, so please send them my way. Thanks so much for watching.